Council consider and implement and allow industry consultation with regard to PW 20-09. And we do not see any need at this time to proceed with an interim control bylaw as outlined in P 20-12. Thank you for your time tonight, and I look forward to your deliberations.
Thank you, Mr. Hurley. Council, any questions or comments for Mr. Hurley? Thank you very much, sir. Sarah, who's next?
We have Patrick McManus.
Hi there. Am I off mute?
Yes, Mr. McManus, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor Saunderson, members of council. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak with you here this evening. My name is Patrick McManus. I'm the Executive Director of the Ontario Sewer and Water Main Construction Association. And our organization is a provincial body that works in conjunction with local heavy construction associations across the province, including the Simcoe County Heavy Construction Association in this area. And this association represents all of your local contractors who build sewer, water main, stormwater, road and bridge infrastructure. I was alerted to this issue late last week, and I'm still sort of parsing through all of the details, including the remarks that were made earlier this evening. But from what I read in the staff report on available drinking water supply and treatment plant capacity, the town's best management practice for identifying the need for capacity growth has worked quite successfully. In 2019, when the water treatment plant here hit 82% capacity usage, the number subsequently dipped back below 80% in 2020. But that 80% trigger point had been hit for the town to explore all of the necessary options for expanding capacity. And I want to applaud you on being responsive to these needs and working to address them in short order, given that the process to expand treatment plant capacity is going to take 4 to 5 years to pass through all of the necessary steps from initially identifying the need through the conclusion of construction. But it's really important to note that the staff report identifies the rolling 5-year average of utilization at 77% of the treatment plant capacity for drinking water, and that the last 5-year average supply demand has actually been fairly steady, even with the tremendous growth that has happened over these last 5 years. The average is, has remained largely below 80%, save for the 1 year. We also appreciate that staff has made recommendations that the plant not be stressed beyond its built capacity. In fact, to maintain that 5% buffer or only be allowed to reach 95% utilization under current circumstances to ensure that doesn't happen. That's important. But again, based on your 5-year average and your peak annual usage, there is still room for the plant to be able to absorb some additional capacities with some changes. It's also important to note that the water treatment plant here chlorinates water at 1.9 milligrams per liter, which is less than half of the current provincially regulated limit. The highest spike in chlorination here reached only 67% of the limit that is set by the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. And all of these are important statistics to understand in addition to the recommendations that you're seeing, because they appear to demonstrate that there is continued room for maneuverability over these next few years while the treatment plant goes through the planning and development process. It may require some additional investment to allow for this, but this is the type of investment that is ultimately going to pay for itself through growth in tax base and through development charges. This is a very dynamic area of the province. It is important to recognize that as we are reopening the economy and recovering from COVID-19, we need to continue to address the housing crisis, create new jobs, and enhance economic activity to aid in the recovery. Following the 2008 recession, the construction sector played a really critical role in helping the province rebound by delivering new housing and critical infrastructure, which helped to spur economic growth. And our industry is ready again to help the region rebound from this disruption. It's why we're here tonight, to encourage you to avoid instituting an interim control bylaw over new land development, because this is going to negatively impact hundreds of construction jobs and many local companies who have already invested a lot of time and money in these projects. And we applaud you for having an early warning system in place to trigger the launch of a process for expansion once capacity becomes an issue. But we don't believe that this warning is intended to immediately trigger a moratorium on new development proposals. There are a lot of other options on the table that have been identified in the staff report that are going to temporarily remedy the situation while the longer-term fix unfolds, and while at the same time safely allowing for continued growth. We would encourage you to follow these set of recommendations and hold off on an interim order until you're closer to your capacity limits. And for now, there continues to be a safe amount of room for some growth, and we really appreciate having the opportunity to speak and raise these points because we think they're very important for the long-term economic development of this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McManus. Council, any questions or comments for Mr. McManus? Thank you very much, sir. Sarah, who is next?
Thank you. We have Denise Baker.
Ms. Baker?
Yes, and thank you. And good evening, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of council. My name is Denise Baker, and I'm a partner at Weir Folds LLP, and I thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. We are counsel to Dawson Drive Collingwood Holdings, Inc.,